introduction. So I'm Chiu. I'm a senior manager in our global investment and innovation incentives practice. So we help companies of all sizes, startups to multinationals, access the over 3,000 government grants and incentives out there. So if you're a startup and you're not familiar with any of these programs that are out there, you guys should be hustling a little bit harder because there's a lot of free money out there, which is the exciting thing about it. No strings attached to this. So I'm very pleased to have an expert panel here representing the various organizations that help companies of various sizes either access funding services or additional help. And so just going from my right to left, we have Minal. She's the CEO of Easily. And then we have Mehran, who's the senior account manager in BDC's technology practice. And we have Cliff. He's the industrial, he's with the National Research Council's IRAP program. He's a technology advisor there. And then we have Yaser, who's with Mitacs as a director. So I'm just going to pass it along to Minal, and she'll talk about what Easily does. And, yeah, sure, doesn't matter. Any order, and then we'll open up after the panelists get a chance to talk about their organizations. We'll open up the floor to some Q&A.
Thank you, Davis. Hello, everyone. My name is Yaser, and I'm a director of business development at Mitacs, as Davis mentioned. So just a very, very brief overview of what Mitacs is and what we do. Mitacs is a national, not-for-profit, independent organization who has been around for about 20 years now, or exactly 20 years this year. And what we do is we provide support and funding for the companies to solve their business and technical challenges through having access to talents and expertise lies at post-secondary institutions. So in general, we are working with the companies in order to make sure that we have a good understanding of what their business and technical challenges are, what sort of innovation-based projects they want to do, but they don't necessarily have the resources in-house. So they want to have some access to expertise and talents that lies outside of their own internal resources. So that's where Mitacs comes, and that's where the team of business development at Mitacs, that's what they do on a daily basis. So we talk to the companies, we understand exactly where they are, what they do, and what are their needs. And based on that, we plan a roadmap for them for the next few months to few years, and how they can connect it to some external resources, specifically the ones that are in post-secondary institutions, universities, even colleges and polytechnics, depending on the need of the company. So that's a part of the support that we do. We help you to plan the roadmap of the technology advancement, or even it's not necessarily just a product development. It can be some kind of if you already have a manufacturing line, you want to optimize the manufacturing process, or even if you want to optimize some other service type of processes that you already have in the company in order to be more efficient. So that's where the understanding and support comes. After that, we will connect you with the expertise lies at universities, or as I mentioned, post-secondary institutions in general. We will do the initial connections, we will facilitate meetings, even if there is any IP involved, we will facilitate that IP discussions with the universities, and then we will help you to actually apply for the funding. And that's the whole part of the support process. The funding process is we work based on a matching funding concept. So whatever the cost of the project is, and we have some pretty simple and clear guidelines of how the funding works, but we provide match funding. So we will share the cost of the project with the company. As a not-for-profit, we are not, so it's basically a funding, it's a grant, it's not something it's not a dilutive fund or like an investment in the company, it's not a loan, it's just a funding that will be paid to the people who are working on your projects. So that's what Mitacs is and how we work. And of course, I'm happy to answer any questions in the panel or after the panel during the lunch period. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Cliff. I'm from government, and I'm here to help. Seriously. So, going along the theme of raising your hands today, who here knows what NRC-IRAP does? It's not bad. Okay. Let's see if this works out to be 100. Who doesn't know what NRC-IRAP does? Doesn't add up. We'll start to do some good here.
Thank you.
Not that easy.
Okay. NRC-IRAP. NRC was formed just over 100 years ago, primarily to drive technology innovation in support of the war efforts. IRAP is a part of NRC, and we were formed about 75 years ago. That'll be next year. And NRC is the National Research Council, and it is the federal agency that supports strategic research for meaningful sectors: aerospace, ag tech, medical devices, digital.
Clean tech. Sorry, is that better? And the sectors that NRC supports are usually based on strategic direction given by the federal government at the time. IRAP is very, very different than NRC. We are part of NRC, but IRAP supports industry. We support companies like yourself, all the innovators in the room. This is a great space to be. I agree with Brenda. Entrepreneurs are wonderful, innovators are wonderful. This is my space. IRAP is very different than NRC in that the people like me, the industrial technology advisors, are people like you. We come from your space, and we enter IRAP to provide advice, if you care to take it, or more likely you approach IRAP looking for a contribution. David had mentioned that there's lots of free money out there, there's lots of grants out there. There's none of that at IRAP. We make investments, we make strategic investments in companies. We make contributions to companies to encourage growth of companies viewed through innovation. So if you're one of the 14,000 firms that approach IRAP every year, you get into a relationship with an industrial technology advisor. You talk about why what you're doing is meaningful to you, why what you're doing is meaningful to Canada, and how you intend on growing wealth in Canada by growing your company. Of that 14,000 firms that approach IRAP every year, IRAP funds about 3,500 to 4,000. So the probability of success is not fantastic, but it's not bad. And it's a wonderful thing because it's non-dilutive funding. So we are investors in the Canadian space, but we don't take equity, which is kind of the best kind of investment. If you are fortunate enough to have a great project with a great firm that has a lot of potential, we will organize an agreement, a contract, where we make contributions to your project. And at the end of the day, most projects end up being about 50-50. Our contribution is about half of what it actually costs the firm. So these are investments in firms that are not looking for seed money. We come in after the seed. We have a very large number of successful companies. The ratio of the investment IRAP makes in the community to the first tier gain in terms of the actual growth of the company within 5 years is somewhere between 5 to 1 and 10 times. So these are very, very carefully made investments. Not all the investments that we make in companies are successful. IRAP is interested in risk, but not a tremendous amount of risk. So if you're in that space, you should be talking to someone at IRAP.
Hi, my name is Mehran. I'm part of the tech financing team at BDC. A little bit of a history lesson about BDC, since we're talking 100 years, and then this morning we started with a history lesson. BDC basically got established right around World War II, where it was ending, and government wanted to entice the workforce to go back to school, finish their education, or become entrepreneurs. So BDC was established at that point. I think, don't quote me on this, I think it was a $5,000 offer at that point for anybody that wanted to become an entrepreneur, start his own business. So for the past 75 years, we've been helping Canadian entrepreneurs actually grow, scale, and stay in control of their business. We just turned 75 actually on September. You're 1 year lagging us, right? It's around the same time. We established the tech financing team about 2 years ago after our pilot actually proved to be very successful in Quebec. We went national. I joined the team. I joined BDC about 5 years ago, but I joined the tech financing team about 2 years. It's been 2 years, two wonderful years. Our traction is great in BC. We've been helping a lot of tech clients, actually educating them on what their options are available in the market, helping them with their network also. That's one of our value adds. Trusted, committed, and trusted and committed partners in the sector. Most of them are sitting here with me today. We do, as if you have, you were here for the presentation in the morning, the fireside chat with Brenda, our director. We do offer capital investment, funding, very patient and flexible ones, and also advisory. That's a bigger piece. So we're the only bank that offers funding and also advisory. So we're trying to help the entrepreneur grow, not just by money, but by actually advising them in areas of business that they might have a knowledge gap. And also, yeah, the last thing is our network. We're quite connected in the market, and usually when somebody starts talking to me, the first thing I go through is a list of partners that I have in the market. Have you met this person, this company? Do you know about this? Just connect everybody together so we can help the company to grow really fast, scale, and also get some money, non-dilutive ones, hopefully, in my capacity, to be successful.
My name is Minal Shankar. I'm the CEO of Easily. Easily is, simply put, meant to be capital as a service. We provide debt capital for companies and use government incentives as a collateral to be able to do that. So if young companies that maybe can't get access to capital quite as easily, but you are benefiting from government incentives like SHRED, Scientific Research and Experimental Development Tax Credits. In BC, if you're using interactive digital media tax credits, or what have you, or some of these programs as well, we try to convert that into predictable, consistent cash flow for you that you can access every quarter, as opposed to waiting till the end of the year, waiting till you file for that. The other point of being capital as a service is we want to be a trusted partner for you that you continue to use quarter after quarter, year after year. And in order to be able to do that, we have to have a very streamlined, easy to use process. So our entire platform is online. We approve clients within 2 weeks, sometimes less, from the time that they apply. On a quarterly basis, we have a streamlined process for you to update us on how you're doing and get capital quickly. Oftentimes, we're coming up against clients that are used to thinking of what we do as very expensive last resort financing, and that's the biggest fight I have to fight against, that we are not that. We want to be one of the arrows in your quiver. We want to be a trusted partner that you use for years to come. So if you're using a program like SHRED or IDMTC, we are a great complement to that, that can enhance the benefits that you're getting. We also try to structure the program in a way that it adds an additional amount of discipline so that you're really going to maximize the benefits that you're going to get. A lot of companies, rely on their accountants at the end of the year to pull it all together. We try to add a quarterly component into this to make sure that you're really maximizing how much you can get out of this. And getting a check at the end of every quarter is a great incentive for your team to make sure that they are doing the kind of documentation and have the types of internal processes that are actually going to help you maximize that at the end of the year. So that's the quick pitch. We open it up to questions?
Yeah, so I'll use this, and then you guys can just grab the mic when you're ready to answer. Yeah, so we'll just start off with some quick questions here to kind of get the gears turning. So anyone can answer this at any kind of interval, or you guys can all answer it. So what does your ideal client look like, and when should they approach you?
Okay, I'll start. For us, the ideal client is anyone that expects to be benefiting from government tax incentives at the end of the year. The best time to approach us is as early as possible. We were talking about this earlier today, that a lot of people think of it as, I have this much money, I'm gonna wait until I've used all of this up, and then I'm gonna go look for the next capital. As entrepreneurs, hopefully you've already figured out that that's not the best approach. The best time to raise money is when somebody's willing to give you money. And usually it's all at the same time. Usually you can raise money when you have money. And so the best thing to do is try to do that at the same time, build up as much of a capital stack as you can, so that you don't have to worry about it until you get to that next milestone. And for debt especially, best time to raise debt is right after you've gotten equity. People often don't think that because they think, okay, now I've got the equity, and so now I don't need to do anything. Because if I get to equity, then I don't need to raise debt. But really, for every company, there's an optimal capital structure. You should use grants, you should use debt, you should use equity, and you should think about the right combination of those that gets you to where you need to go. So.
Ideal client for BDC. I don't know how many of you were not here when Brenda was doing the fireside chat. Show of hands. I think everybody remembers this slide that about the life cycle of a venture. So, for any business, what's that?
Yeah.
For any business, sound
Yeah.
For any business, to take debt, usually the right time is right after you raise equity, and you have some sort of attraction with your sales. So you collect the revenue, and you have some sort of equity in the business, and there's a couple of variables that any banker will look at. But at the end of the day, you have to know the debt has to be paid back on a monthly basis with interest. Does your cash flow support that? So when is it a good time to come talk to us? It's relatively a short time after commercialization. Commercialization happens after pilot and demo. Basically, you have found your market fit. You have created demand in the market from one or two clients, and they're going to pay you, and you have your most viable solution available. So I think that's the shortest answer I can give.
So I mentioned this before, the ideal firm that we would work with is not someone with an idea and looking for a little cash to get going. We get lots of those inquiries all the time. We love to talk. So come on over, even if you're in that position, and we'll talk through what you've got. We'll point you in the right direction, whether it be within IRAP or one of the numerous agencies or incubators that are available. The ideal firm to develop a project where we make investments is a firm that is already up and running, anywhere from 1 person to 499 people. For-profit, registered in Canada, doing something that's innovative. How we measure the innovation is, do you have IP? And that IP usually is in the form of a patent. It doesn't have to be a trade secret, but something that's different. Something that gives you an advantage over everyone else in the field. Something that potentially has a lot of market potential. And you have to show that you have the team
within your firm to execute a project. We make investments across Canada, like I said, 3,500, 4,000 firms a year. The contribution level varies from year to year. It's typically about 300 million across Canada. So you can kind of do the quick math. That's the scale of the contribution that we average per project. That can range from very, very small investments to investments as large as $10 billion. We don't see very many of those. I've only seen one in the last year and a half. So typically the project size is significantly smaller, but we can do sequential projects for firms that continue to grow and deliver on the product.
So I'm going to change the question a little bit, and instead of talking about the ideal companies, I'm talking about the eligible companies and eligible projects that Mitacs can fund. So in terms of eligible companies, we are not limited to any sector or any size of the company, so as long as there is a for-profit or even most of the non-for-profits, as long as they're not government controlled, they're all eligible to get Mitacs funding. In terms of the projects that are eligible, Mitacs works based on the innovation-based type of project. So as long as there is any R&D activity in the project, there is a challenge that you want to outsource and use some external resources to fix it, then that's an eligible Mitacs project. So when I'm talking to the companies and they have sometimes they have some problems in identifying what is just a pure development type of project and what is innovation and R&D. And I'm just saying that whatever you can't find a solution by simply Google it, then that's an innovation. That's something that we need some sort of trial and error for, and that is something that you can externally source using Mitacs funding. So these are all eligible type of projects.
Great. So one more question here, and then I'll open it up to the floor if there are any additional questions. So what types, or other than providing funding and services, what other intangible benefits are there with working with your organizations?
So I can go first. So as I mentioned in my initial pitch, a portion of what we do, or actually a main portion of what we do, is just to be an advisor to the company and help them to define their roadmap, specifically, again, going back to the challenges that they have and what sorts of innovation they need. And we provide the service of connecting them to the post-secondary institutions, the experts and talents that lies there. So depending on what you need, there are 70 to 80 people like me nationally, and they are all very well connected, and they have a great network among many, many different universities and colleges. So they will find someone who has a background, a research background or experience background in what you are doing and how do you want to solve your problem. So having access to that kind of network is one of the main things that we provide. On a different level, we sometimes do a post-project support for the companies in terms of B2B connections. So we do have a few of these in our portfolio here in BC that we help the companies to form a consortium of groups of different companies working on similar projects. So these are definitely not competitors, but they are people who can, the companies who are providing solutions for a complete ecosystem. I don't know, for example, for fuel cell technologies, there are companies working on hydrogen storage, hydrogen generation, hydrogen transfer, and fuel cell technology. So we are bringing all of these companies together on one table to talk about the challenges and how they can help themselves and how they can help this consortium to grow. So this B2B connection is one of the main services that we provide, and we help the companies to be connected together, depending again on the challenges that they face and what their needs are.
I have a similar answer. So my title is Industrial Technology Advisor. And the advisor bit is usually overlooked when people and firms approach IRAP, but it can be the most powerful part of our work with firms. Of those 14,000 firms that approach IRAP every year, 8,000 or 9,000 of them benefit immensely from the advisory part. And that advisory part is because IRAP hires ITAs like me. There's 255 of us across Canada, across all the sectors that are strategic in Canada. I'm clean tech. I have a 30-year career in clean energy, heat and power. if there's firms working in that space anywhere across Canada, they have access to me. If you are a firm working on ag tech and you have a new way of doing something, but you can't quite figure something out, I have access to the other 254 ITAs, and a large number of them will be ag tech. All of us have decades of scars, success, failures, and we will help you navigate that very odd route to success by telling you what not to do and hopefully guiding you with some advice on what you could do.
So, some intangible aspect of working with BDC. I mentioned at the beginning we do advising. So we help our client, aside from money, we help them actually grow the company based on their strategic vision for the future. Where you are now, where you want to be, and we have trusted partners and also professional consultants that can work with clients at any stage. They don't have to wait until they hit that milestone for funding, for financing. They can actually engage us earlier on. The previous presentation, we're talking about entrepreneurs that don't have, they basically have a knowledge gap in one area, and you turn off an angel investor. What you bring to the table, it's basically filling that knowledge gap. So when you're actually presenting your growth map or where you want to be in 5-6 years in front of an investor, you basically communicate your value and communicate your vision effectively. Aside from that, the networks, people that are sitting here, also we're quite connected with the angel networks around our ecosystem, so we can always make those connections if we see a fit. We always talk to them, say, hey, this company has approached me, maturity for financing on my end. Do you think we can help them on some sort of an equity round? And if you get 3 or 4 of them, one of them say yes, you can make that connection. So those are the value adds we always are known in the market for as well. So come talk to us. If you won't lose anything, you actually gain a lot more.
This one. So I'll reiterate what I said in the beginning. Part of the service that we provide helps you maximize the government incentive programs that you're already using. We add a certain amount of discipline to make sure that you are capturing what you can get incentives for, and that reducing your risk of reductions later on by making sure you have proper documentation to be able to get those. Second, we help improve the cash profile over time. And so especially for startups, early stage companies, by providing predictable, consistent cash flows every quarter, it helps you be more bankable in the future and hopefully work with other lenders like BDC or banks, what have you. And then for more mature companies, that helping that cash flow profile is also just a tool for better budgeting and forecasting. A lot of companies look at it and say, it's hard for me to budget this if I'm going to get a lumpy cash flow at some unpredictable time. But if I know I'm getting something every quarter, now I can fund this project. Now I can make sure that this R&D program is going to have funding for the next however many quarters it needs to run. And then lastly, I think similar to what everybody else said, we work very closely with other consultants, advisors, and lenders in the market. And so oftentimes we can help connect you to those. We have clients that have been working with us that we can say, okay, now that you're looking for a term loan or you're looking for growth capital, you should talk to Mehran, or you should talk to somebody at RBC. And so it's a good community to sort of get connected into and make sure that you're using all the resources that are available to you.
Great, thanks. So unfortunately, we won't have time for audience questions, but the rest of the folks will probably be around for the rest of the session, so just go up and talk to them. Thanks.